What's up, friends of the internets, and welcome back to the Jube Tube. First of all, before we get started, some of you may notice, and I want to just get one thing clear. I went to the eye doctor. Look at these pupils. Can you see them? I can see all the light in the world. It hurts. It sucks. I don't like it. All right, now to the topic of the hour. That guy. Look at this guy. You can't see him very well. The light's kind of blowing out some lights. It's Cuphead. Cuphead. We're going to talk about Cuphead. I bought the game last night, and I played for about an hour and a half, and I beat the first island. This is one of my first impression videos. I just dived into the game. I'm just learning some of the stuff, and what are my first impressions? As we all know, first impressions are very important, and especially in games like this. This isn't going to be a 40-hour game. This is going to be much shorter than that. So that first hour and a half is very important for the game. Is it really going to grab me? With a lot of reviews coming out, a lot of people said this game is great, but it's also very hard. I came in with that expectation, and I came out with basically the same review. I will say that it is very, very difficult. But it reminds me of the old games I used to play as a kid, you know, the Donkey Kongs and things like that I never beat. It's the old platformer style. It's very, very difficult to get through, but it's also very rewarding. The art style that we see in this game is just amazing. It's done flawlessly, and it's just fun to look at. No matter what's going on, I'm having a good time. No matter how difficult the boss or the level is, I'm having a good time. And I think that's very, very important. When you have games like this that have almost a base level requirement of your skill, they have to be fun. They can't just be hard to be hard. It's very much like a hot sauce to me. I love spicy food. But there are certain hot sauces out there that are just hot to be hot. There's no flavor, you get no enjoyment out of it, and it's a total waste. It's not fun in your mouth, and it's just a waste of space on a shelf. It's the same thing for this game. If it's just hard to be hard, why play it, right? I found that it was difficult enough to where I wasn't on the level of throwing my controller because I was having such a good time. And to me, that's very, very important. So there are a few things I want to touch on from the early parts of the game, other than just the sheer difficulty of it, that I really enjoyed. We already talked about the art style. It's done so well, but the sound that goes along with that is also done ridiculously well. The other thing that I really enjoy that you kind of have to learn is the weapon system, and it's not really an upgrade system, but as you buy weapons, you actually unlock other weapons. You unlock other skills. So again, there's kind of a base requirement of like, oh, once you buy this one's now available. And I can respect that. That's kind of neat. The thing that I like about these weapons is not so much that a weapon is better than another weapon, is that it's just completely different in how it affects your gameplay. That I really like. What that forced me to do as a player was just trial and error. And because of the nature of the game being difficult while being fun, this added another element for me that was fun. So I was buying new weapons and skills and trying them out just to see how they would affect how I would play that boss. I remember last night I sat on a boss and died maybe 4 or 5 times, and then I switched my weapon and beat him the first try. It's that trial and error that I found very fun. Let's talk about dying for a second. People say it's like Dark Souls, but a 1930s cartoon. Whatever. I got to the second island, and there's a fountain that tells you how many times you died. In the first island alone, I died 53 times, and I regret nothing. It was just fun. I had a good time. I want to go back and play it again and again and again, even though I died 53 times. It was ridiculous. I want to take a second to also talk about the difficulty one last time for one reason. So I mentioned that it's difficult, and I mentioned that it's rewarding. In the game, you have 2 options. You can do the regular, or the rugular, as I call it, mode, or you can do the simple mode. And at the end of the night, it was getting late, I was getting tired, I was unsuccessful in the boss that I was playing. So I changed it to simple mode. And I'm glad that I did, for the reason that I learned that that was not satisfying for me. I did not get the same level of gratitude as I did as a regular boss. I still died a few times by mistakes of my own. It had nothing to do with the difficulty of the boss. I was being stupid as a player. The boss got significantly easier. The attacks that they were doing were different. The randomizing of everything was either slower or it just wasn't as fun. And because of that, when I beat him, I was just like, all right, let's move on. I regret it. I'm glad I did it, so now I know that I would rather grind out, play forever on one boss and eventually beat him and get that sense of gratitude than to cower down and do simple ever again. So I'll probably go back, play that guy again, beat him on the regular mode just so I can have that badge of pride to go along with it. My one complaint so far about the game is the controls. For the reason that with how many objects are flying at your face a lot of the times, you kind of go into a sense of like fight or flight or freak out, and it's some of the controls become difficult. Some of it becomes almost button mashy, and several times last night I either got hurt or died because I was trying to do one thing and ended up doing another thing. Now that just may be my skill level as a player, and those are rookie mistakes if you want to call it that. But I'm finding that many other people that have played this game have this very same comment. Now you have a primary weapon, a secondary weapon, and a special, and then you have some jumping and dashing and things like that. And they're all in one spot. Like I have this whole Xbox controller, and all of the controls are just the D-pad and the buttons here. Like, I rarely use the bumper on the right. You can. I don't use it because I don't think about it. And you don't use the triggers for anything for shooting. And I don't know if that's to try to make it feel like an old platformer because they didn't have those buttons. So they took away some of those so the functionality wasn't there. Maybe that's it because it's supposed to, seem like a 1930s game. I know they didn't have games in the 30s, but maybe it's to feel retro because it is at times very much like the platformer bosses that we were used to back in the early days of the NES and the Super NES and things like that. So maybe that's what they're doing. I don't hate it. That's just my one complaint right now. That's pretty good. If my one complaint is the controls and not so much the, oh my god, I want to burn my house down because this game is so hard, speaks volumes for the game. It's difficult, but it's fun, and it makes it rewarding when you beat things. And so to me, that's the biggest takeaway because I want to go play again and again and again and find out the puzzles of these bosses, find out their patterns, play them over and over, die a lot, eventually beat them, buy new weapons, see how that changes the way that I play and how I interact with each boss, and is it good for this one, not good for that. There's so many things that you can do. It seems so simple, but you have to put a lot of thought into it of how you want to play and how you should play this boss, and I can't stop thinking about it. I recommend everybody out there with a Steam account or an Xbox, go buy this game. It's $20. There's Cuphead and Mugman if you want to do co-op, so bring a friend along with you because then they can revive you. If you both die, then you got to start over. But if that's what you want to do, have fun with your friends. Is it that hard? Yes. But are all the reviews that say that it's a lot of fun also correct? Yes. Go out there, go buy it. Fill up the comments below. Let me know what you think. A lot of people don't like this game. A lot of people think it's over their cap of what they want the video game to be as far as difficulty goes. I myself think it's a great balance, but let me know what you think. Like this video, hit the little red subscribe button wherever it is, or my face when it pops up here in a minute. Share it with the world. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see y'all again next time.